Hello, everybody. Oh, gotta get this off of my face. What's up, everybody? I'm Carl Hansen. I'm your host of Behind the Wrapper. Hold on, I gotta turn off this other thing so I don't keep hearing an echo. Haven't done a live stream in quite some time, so thank you guys for joining. We have some awesome discussion coming up in a little bit. Just a little quick intro to what this is. I am a producer and a director. My name is Carl Hansen. I have produced an Easterseals Disability Film Challenge film called Turntable. That's what we're here to discuss. I got some of the cast and crew together to talk about it a little bit later after we view the film. But then I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to kind of brand this as something a little bit bigger, and we can have other conversations with other filmmakers and other filmmaking teams. And talk about their films as well. I'll turn on some lights so I'm not right here in the dark. So yeah, I think first we're going to start with the film, and I just got to figure out here how to share the video file. Hold on, I have to make sure I have to give it this thing. Okay, for whatever reason, it is not letting me share this at the moment, but I think I can get it up on this. Give me 1 second here, guys, as we work through this technical difficulty, and just a little bit about, oh, I think I can actually do it through here. Let's see if this works. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Sorry. I haven't done one of these in quite some time. I'm sorry we're having technical difficulties with the file. I am going to restart it because now we have a few more viewers anyway, and it should work. I think it was an upload issue. So hopefully it goes through, and many apologies. If not, I'll tell everybody to watch it on YouTube and we can just start our discussion if this for whatever reason doesn't work. So we're gonna try it one more time. Sorry, guys. All right. Hopefully, can you guys hear me? Everyone hear me? Okay, awesome. So that was Turntable. I'm going to introduce some of the cast and crew here. Joining me first, I'm going to add Danny J. Gomez. What's up, Danny?
How's it going?
Good. You can hear me. I can hear you. That's awesome. All right. Next is Ambika. There's Ambika. Hello.
Hello.
Look, perfect. We can hear you. Okay, we're going to add Richard. You're coming in next. There you are.
Hello.
There. Richard, great to see you. And then last but not least, here right now we have Teresa and Shannon. Hey, I can get us all on the screen at the same time. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hope you guys are all having a good evening. Thank you so much for joining. I know this came together relatively quickly, but I thought it was a good opportunity to get us all together after the filming. Some of us haven't even spoken since the weekend, which was two weeks ago at this point, 3 weeks ago. But it was an awesome experience for me, and for a lot of you and people who know the films that we make. This was the first time I didn't direct a Cultural Detritus film. Cultural Detritus is my filmmaking team that I've been making 48-hour films and Easterseals Disability films for since 2005. So this was the first time that somebody else directed, and it was Danny J. Gomez. First time you were directing something, right? So Danny, I just want to kind of start with you, and I know you were kind of nervous going into it, and I kind of want to hear what that experience was like for you, being a first-time director and tackling a film challenge film, which this had to be made in 5 days. We literally had 5 days to write, shoot, edit, music, all of it in that amount of time. So what was that like for you, Danny?
Well, first of all, thank you for giving me that opportunity. I didn't know that I was the first one to take over the reins, but you've done every single one since then. That just
no pressure. There's no pressure.
Yeah, right.
And you did awesome, by the way. Truly, I think you did an amazing job. I just want to preface by saying that really did an amazing job.
Yeah, it was weird. The feeling of I'll work back to the beginning, but when I was finished and putting it out there, I was more nervous about that than my acting stuff. Because it was my first time and I didn't know how it was going to come out. But yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't like nervous. I was more excited, and I had the whole movie in my head, so I think that really helped. But I wasn't ready for when I got to set and all these different problems were being thrown at me. And technically, it was a bit difficult for me to figure things out. But thankfully, I had Ambika there, and I had Richard, and obviously Carl helped me out with a lot of things. But after the first few scenes, I think I fell into a rhythm, and I knew where I wanted things. And one of the biggest challenges was just setting up shots and getting things done under time, which Ambika was amazing at. Danny, it'd probably be a good idea if we did this, So if it wasn't for Ambika, I'd probably still be there trying to get a shot. But yeah, it was, it was such an exhilarating experience. Like, I love being on set, and just I know Richard and I learned a lot. It was also Richard's first time DPing, so trying to translate ideas from my head to him, and then having them work out, that was a challenge. But I think we got what we came for, and I was super excited how everything came out.
Right, and I think that's a real big part of the directing job, right? Is figuring out how to communicate to different people, different things about what you really are looking for. And I think also, and I want to introduce everybody else here too in a second. But you said to me afterwards, like, or maybe I inferred this, you would not have made this kind of a film if it was sort of like totally up to you as a sort of singular creative vision. but you were kind of had your hand forced, right? It's like we thought we were going to be shooting by the airport. We didn't have a sound recordist. I'm like, let's do a silent film. First it was musical, but then let's do a silent film. So, I just kind of want to hear, like, what was that like, being sort of out of control of sort of some of those things, but still being able to kind of craft it in the way that you wanted to?
Yeah, when I heard that we were doing, we had a superhero theme for the film challenge, I was super excited. Obviously, I love superhero movies and I love that whole genre. But then when we started writing and Carl came, he said he wanted to do a musical. I have nothing. I like musicals, but they're like towards like the bottom of my watching list. You know what I mean? So right off the bat, that wasn't something that I was super comfortable with. And
but the reason why was Izzy, and I'm gonna text him here in a second to see if he's able to join. He was only available. Izzy's our composer, and he was only available earlier in the week because he had signed up to do another project for that weekend. So he suggested, he's like, we could do a musical if you wanted to try that. I'm like, absolutely, I want to try that. That sounds amazing. Obviously, we backed away from it for a number of reasons, but so then it ended up as a silent film, right? We weren't recording dialogue, so
silent
probably a totally different thing.
Oh yeah, and then the actor side of me, having actors there and trying to communicate what they're doing without dialogue, it was kind of tough. They looked at me like I had three heads, and like like they had no idea what we were doing, what their characters were for. But we had to just reassure them that it was going to make sense once we put the music and with the film. So it was definitely hard because I think more visually and the sound is something that I didn't think of. I didn't think of initially, but now seeing it all put together, it made sense. But yeah, it definitely wouldn't have been my first choice.
Well, and that becomes a big sort of element of trust too, when you do work with people, and we've all worked on multiple projects together, right? This is however many projects we've all worked on together, and there's a level of trust there, right? And you see sort of the level of quality that the team does. And I knew, Danny, you had been talking about wanting to direct since we met. You were talking about it, and so it was, for me, it was hard to relinquish that. It was difficult. I actually had many therapy sessions talking about it, trying to figure out, because for me, that's why I do these competitions, right? It's like I want to be a director, but now I've sort of set the path where other people can get an opportunity to try it. And it's an awesome proving ground for
there was one moment. There was one moment that it was only like a split second. I said to myself, if Carl asked me if I just want to step back and he can direct the rest, I'll let him do it. But it was
that was probably the time where I left and had to pick up the catering for lunch. Or
no, but I definitely was I wouldn't have given it up. I'm so happy we finished it, and like I honestly caught the bug because I can't wait to do it again. Now everything that I watch now, I'm like watching it with a director's view instead of being from the actor side of it. So I'm so happy.
You were already doing that though. That's, and in our conversation, you speak a visual language, right? So, and I just want to highlight this comment here. I don't know if you know Tracy, but nice work, Danny. That she commented. So yeah. Oh, and then whenever Izzy comes, this is my friend JC. JC, thanks for watching. Hello, love the score. That was all done in consultation with Izzy G, who hopefully will still be joining us soon here. But for the people we do have here, let's quickly jump to Teresa and Shannon, who are below us here. Shannon was the lead in the film, and Teresa, her mom. They came up, drove a significant distance to come up and do this. And I think, Shannon, this was your first starring role. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you did an awesome job. I mean, truly, like, I'm watching it again. It's like that performance is really, it's great. When you go outside of the warehouse and you are looking through the trash barrel, like the moment before you look through the trash barrel, you're looking right. There's so much communicated in just that moment, which also kind of lends itself to, you have to, as an actor, I think, in a silent film, really sort of emote with your body, right? And with your body language. Mm-hmm. And Teresa, I know you probably came up thinking you might be having to do something, because I warned you about that. But you ended up having a bit of a significant part in this. What was that like for you, Teresa?
Um, it was the dying several times that kind of got me physical, but I thought it was, when I read the script, I thought, this is interesting. I wonder how they're going to do this. But I was totally amazed when I saw the finished product. So it was really, I loved it. But like Danny said, the music was going to drive us crazy. Well, it didn't drive me crazy while we were filming, but when I kept watching it 5 or 6 times, it started to get to me.
Yeah, that it was an earworm song when we were in the writing room. So Izzy was in the writing room with us, and he had said it was the first time that he had kind of been a part of that process. But because the music really became integral to what it was, he said, "Oh, what about this loop? I think it's annoying because like I had to go to the bathroom once and I came back out and it was playing. My girlfriend's like, you have to turn that off. It's driving me nuts." It's like, okay, I'm like, yeah, Izzy, let's hear that. Let's hear what that's like. And he played it, and we're like, yep, that is absolutely. It's sort of a very earwormy song, but played over and over again. It can be kind of maddening, in the best possible way for what we wanted to achieve in the film. So let's quickly, Amika, I want you to introduce yourself, who is our amazing assistant director and had worked with us on Connections and you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ambika Lee. Carl, did you want us to do our descriptors?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Thank you. I'm so glad I emailed that.
You put it in the email, so it's my job to keep track of the details.
100%.
I actually don't know if I've ever had to visually ID myself. I'm gonna try. I am a middle-aged woman. How detailed do I need to get? No, with naturally gray hair, headphones on, and a gray V-neck T-shirt, and I'm in my office. It's my background. Does that
beautiful, amazing unicorn individual? She's the best.
Thanks.
You should write unicorn next to your name.
I'll put she/her/unicorn. How's that? So I'm Ambika, and I had the honor of being the first assistant director, which means I was Danny's servant, and very, very happy to do that. I think this is only my second Cultural Detritus film. And so I worked with Danny previously. He was an actor when I was the AD before. And I think he's an amazing actor and a wonderful human being. And I was even more impressed, Danny. I was actually a little nervous that you would be nervous. I don't know if you remember, I was like texting you like, how you doing? Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah. Can I bring you Starbucks like the night before? And you did not seem nervous at all. So if you were, you hit it well. You just seem like such a natural. You seem really comfortable sort of being in charge and having to make all the decisions that a director is forced to make very quickly with many constraints and surprises, pretty much every minute. So I was really impressed with how you took it on, and was really happy to help. And and I love working with Shannon and Teresa, who I worked with previously too, and Richard. Great job,
so
Richard. I didn't actually realize it was your first time, Richard. I found that out later. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was.
Well, so actually, Richard, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? If you wouldn't mind giving a quick physical description, just in case anybody who's vision impaired might want to kind of see you.
Older male.
I'll say I'm a middle-aged Caucasian man, bald, wearing headphones and glasses and a graying beard, and I'm wearing a suit jacket. And I'm in my home office.
I'm a 60-year-old white male with headphones and glasses. I live in southern Orange County, so around San Clemente area. With Carl, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But I finally got to be a bride this time. And I was a fill-in because the original DP had issues, couldn't make it. So Carl says, "Hey, do you have a camera?" I go, "Yes."
Well, I
Yes,
knew
I have
you had told
everything.
me you had a camera, right? So I knew you had that camera. You had already told me that. So then I was
Yeah.
like, huh, I wonder if Richard would just be able to want to, you know, step in and do something like that.
Of course, always. When I have a chance to DP or even AC, I jump in. I enjoy doing that. I did a lot through Saddleback College, Orange Coast College. Did a lot of Saddleback was a lot of fun. We did a lot of student film. Matter of fact, I'm in student films now, finishing up. So as you can see, it was really, there was nothing fancy. It was all either tripod or handheld. There was no sliders, no dolly or anything like that. There's nothing really basic.
Except when Danny put the camera on his shoulder,
Yes.
and he became
Yes,
the
we
dolly
have to
for
tell
the
that story.
Jamie shots.
Do you,
That was fun. Yeah.
Carl, do
Yeah.
you have like an image or anything you can
Oh,
throw
yeah.
up or a short? Did you
Yeah,
find
hold
that?
on.
Yeah.
I have it. I have Annika had taken it. It's just one of those amazing
Forceful moments where we
yeah.
needed a dolly. We're
All right,
like,
hold on.
oh, the director has a
hopefully
built-in dolly.
Yeah.
There he is. There's Danny.
I'm the dolly
Richard
grip.
there.
Oh no, I'm the DP.
No.
That's right. I'm the DP on the right. So
Yep. So that
Danny,
was
had you ever held a camera like that, Danny?
No, I had, because sitting, not having lower body control, it's all about balance. So I had to really make sure my core was as tight as possible because I didn't want to drop that camera. It's the only one.
Right.
Plus, it was Richard's, and I didn't want to break it.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't going anywhere. But as you can see, the biggest challenge for any photographer, it's completely black. The whole studio is black. The talent is in black. So that's a real challenge because all that black just eats up all the light, so much light. We had lights. We had some house, as you can see, we used the house lights plus two other in-house lights but it ate up so much light and the lens was wide open, but we did it. I think it turned out really good. Even though everything was so dark, it turned out really nice. And it was a lot of fun.
It looks totally different than anything else this team has ever done. That's the other thing that I'm actually quite proud of, right? That it looks totally different. The tone is different. It's a very different kind of film than what we've
very much
previously done.
And then the Danny and I, the night before, we spent 3-4 hours going over the shot list, creating it as we went along. And then we're talking about what we want to do. The final shot was shot first, only because we figured they're fresh and they look fresh. The clothes are fresh. The lighting was great. So we did that. That final scene was actually shot first. And then we went on to doing all the other scenes. The hallway scene was hilarious. That was, we had other things we wanted to do, but Danny and you and Ambika came up with that Harl Marty chase scene, I guess is what you would
that
call
was
it.
all day. I mean, I stepped away and I was probably picking up catering, but I think Danny, was that your original idea, right? It's like, I want to do that in the hallway. You had that idea to have people run in and out.
Yeah, when I saw pictures of the space online, I saw that hallway and I saw a few doors, and I was like, well, I think we do some really cool shots in there. And when we scouted it at the location, when Carl and I went to scout it, I was like, oh, this is perfect to do like one of those chase sequences where a person goes in and the other person is looking for them and they can't find them, and they go to another door, and the other person comes out the original door. And Carl's like, yeah, I know that bit. So unfortunately, we couldn't get a lot of I wanted like all kind of crazy camera movements and like depth of field and like elongated.
Slow-mo, you want a slow-mo and everything.
Yeah. But obviously, we had such a small crew, and we were running low on time when we shot that, so we just had to get what we could. And thankfully Richard, set up the camera in right spots, and Ambika was, Ambika turned into my co-director towards the end there. So, I mean, we got it done.
Yeah.
A full team effort. That truly is really what it was, because we were very, very short-handed.
Right. We all
And
had to pitch in as needed, wherever needed.
The closing scene was funny. Also, that was kind of ad lib with Michael sitting on the floor. It was, how many times we rolled the record?
Right. Well, actually, so speaking of Michael, we have Michael Charles Vaccaro here with us.
What's up, guys?
We have Izzy
The
G
DJ.
here, who is here. Izzy, you are muted. I don't know if you know that. But welcome. Izzy was our composer, and Michael Charles Vaccaro here was DJ Time, and a founding member of Cultural Detritus, the very first film we ever made. We made together. We've made a number of them. Well, welcome you guys.
Thank you. Hello.
So Michael, you were just referenced in terms of like that last scene. What was this film, because you've been on a significant number of Cultural Detritus productions, what was this film like for you? Obviously, I wasn't directing, and it was a totally different kind of film. What was this process like for you?
What was interesting is, going in, I didn't really understand what the script was about. I read the script and I'm like, what is this?
That's a theme.
What is this?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I am just going to trust everybody and just shoot it, and it's going to come together. And it did. And it made sense. And I watched it and I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
When Ambika, you texted me, you're like, it actually made sense.
You did the edit, and I was impressed the choices that you and Matthew, right, initially made to make the narrative work, because there was no dialogue and the coverage wasn't, we didn't have, the time and resources to do all the kind of coverage that we would want to do. So you pieced it together quite well for what you do.
You know what is cool is, I get asked all the time, is what's the difference between doing a disability film challenge film versus another film? And absolutely nothing is the answer. There is no difference. It's really the exact same thing, because every time you film something, you're figuring out, okay, how do I overcome this obstacle? How do I solve this problem? How do I do that? It's the same thing. And so it's just a beautiful experience making a film. That's really what it was.
The one thing I will say is, and Danny and I did this on the Scout, is made sure that the bathroom was accessible.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you got to do that kind of stuff, right?
If you guys remember, for Connections, the bathroom was not accessible.
Didn't they have to remove
they
the
had to
door?
swap doors, and it was, so it's like one of those, like, you have to. In fact, Danny, I think you're like, that was the very first thing we did. Like, you're just like, let me go check out and make sure the bathroom's okay, because if it wasn't, like, what's the point, right? So we couldn't have stayed. Needless to say, by the way, that Scout happened 1 day before we shot there. We didn't have that location locked in until the day before.
Jeez.
So that's these are the film challenges, guys. This is how we roll.
Yeah.
It makes it exciting and fun for everybody, right?
One other difference, Michael, about other films is I think they have more time to shoot the amount of stuff that we shot.
Well, that's true. But that's unique to all of the films that I do with Carl. As we try to cram in as much as we can in as little time as possible. Right.
Though I will say, and this is a real kudos to Ambika on this, we got out when it was daylight still out. Like, I was driving home and the sun was still out. I'm like, what's this? How does this?
I got places to be, guys. I'm sorry.
I know what was cool, Danny, as for you as a first-time director, is a lot of times when we do these kind of films, it starts off with, we do 20 takes at the beginning of the day, and we're doing a half a take to one take. Okay, we got it. Let's move on by the end of the day. And you were pretty consistent throughout in the amount of takes that you did with everything, and you stayed level-headed through the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah,
which is a feat in and of itself, Danny. So congratulations.
Well, you knew what you wanted too. I think that's a big part of. You had the vision, and you knew sort of, once you have that vision, you can guide everything towards whatever that vision is, which was very clear.
Yeah, and I mean, Ambika, like, seriously, she was there in my ear the whole time. Like, I mean, in a good way, because
Yeah.
you know, I would have sat there for an extra 10 minutes trying to get a shot that, you know, will probably be in the film for a half a second. But you know, for me, I was like, this is gonna look cool, you know.
Right,
But she's like, well,
right.
we need to finish, you know. So it was
Yeah.
definitely, and there was little things where, like, you know, checking scenes off and things that we've shot already that she was like, you should be doing this stuff that I didn't know, just because it's my first time. And you know, those are things that I guess you learn in film school or just doing it on the job.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of information that I learned from everybody that I think the next time I'm on set, I'll be, you know, better prepared. But I loved every minute of it.
And that's really one of the best parts about these competitions is exactly that. It's figuring out, oh, this is how to do this. I can tell you it absolutely has made me a better director doing these film challenge films, because you get to try different things. You get to, you know, figure things out. And if it doesn't work, it's like low stakes, high reward. If it doesn't work, you at least tried it. And it's like, okay, well, that didn't work. Like we made a 48-hour through the pandemic where I forgot to put the character on screen, and that is a required element, and we got disqualified. Right. And it's like, I mean, that's horrible. I was trying to be COVID safe and stuff like that happened. So, and that was 2020. I'd been making 48-hour films for 15 years. So you'd think like, oh, of course, that's something you would know. But with COVID, it changed the game. But again, it's sort of low stakes, high reward. You really get a chance to kind of flex your creative muscle. And I call it going to the filmmaker gym, right? It's sort of like you go, you get your reps in, you try it, you try something different, you try a genre maybe you would have tried otherwise. And it's like, oh, I like sci-fi. That's what happened with IO. Like, I like sci-fi. I want to do more of that, you know? So, go ahead.
Yeah, no offense to anyone else, but I will not be doing a musical for or a silent film for a very long time. Izzy, I still like to use your work, but we're going to put some dialogue in there too next time.
Yeah, so Izzy, why don't you quickly introduce yourself, and Izzy is our composer, and what the experience was like for you being in the writer's room and in the creative room this time.
Am I
Yep.
audible?
Yeah,
we hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, hello. I'm Izzy G. I'm a as of last year, I'm a film composer.
Yeah, you are a film composer.
It was definitely different because I got to see like the process from its inception to to completion, and it was different this year because usually I'm it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're welcome to the team, and then usually these guys are so busy with writing and whatnot that I don't really hear any from anybody until the night before, the day of. Hey, here's a cut of the film, composed to this. But like this year, I got to be like behind the in the writer room and experience all that goes into making the film. And okay, well, what are we going to have the people do here, and we need to make this concise and make this fit this timeline and fit this this amount of time, and how are we gonna character development and scene development. I got to see that all come together. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, this is what goes into making a film and making sure that everything tells a story cohesively.
Right. So Izzy, why don't you said you as of last year were a film composer. Can you talk about how that kind of came to be?
Well, Clubhouse. I met Carl on Clubhouse and what was it, Carl? The titles are kind of.
It was the disability representation club and disability representation rooms, which I was only on Clubhouse because of Ambika. So everything kind of has these little connections.
Right. That's funny.
So we met in the disability inclusion room on Clubhouse, and or it was another room, I can't remember specifically, where you mentioned you had there was like a song. I always forget the name of this song, even though it's on my playlist.
Simple Question.
Simple Questions, yeah. And I know you just used it for the other team's film for the promotion. I heard it in there.
They did.
Yeah. So we met in that room, and I heard that, and I was like, oh, I really like this track. You know, what other kind of stuff do you have? And we had a conversation, and then was it second act? No. What was the one? Archaic. It was Archaic Intergalactic Extraterrestrials, right?
Yep, that was the one.
So that was our last year Disability Film Challenge film. And that one was really interesting because it was all done remotely, right? Everybody was remote for that one. But yeah, you did an amazing job with that. And I think, Izzy, do you want to talk about your disability? I don't want to put you on the spot at all, but I think it's important at least to mention to the world like how you compose this music. At least it's beautiful music. So
thank you. Well, I have ROP. I was born at 26 weeks, so about 5 months or so premature, and so as far as like composing and stuff goes, I don't honestly, a lot of the time, I play things by ear, as it were. And I don't know. I guess these guys like it. They keep contacting me to help with films.
Absolutely, and I think the process that we had figured out for Archaic was coming up with a time-coded list and making sure you knew where the visuals would change, and so you could just write to the cues and on that time-coded list. So
yeah. It's like a general description.
General description, which is essentially doing audio description ahead of when audio description would have to be, or when it would be put on a film. So so I think it was finding that workflow that was like, yeah, there's no limitation here of what we can do. You're an amazing composer. Just because you can't see the picture, it doesn't limit what can actually be done. And the music is awesome. So, I think from my perspective as a filmmaker and as a producer, that's why I'm like, yeah, I would love to keep using you on these projects because you have such a great sound. And in fact, when you did Carved, right, that was the one last year, the end track of Carved, which got nominated for Best Musical Score, sounded to me like a Marvel soundtrack. Like it kind of had that Marvel-esque feeling. And I even told my wife, I'm like, this sounds big. Like it sounds really, really big and epic, which is why when its superhero genre came, and Danny, do you want to talk a little bit how you guys work together on sort of crafting some of the songs too? Because Izzy was in the room, but then went back and forth a few times too.
Yeah, I had we went through like a bunch of iterations of the final superhero song, and there were just certain things and elements that didn't fit like the image or the picture that we were trying to portray. So Izzy and I spent hours sometimes on the phone or just chat, texting each other, and I would send him samples, and I would mix like it was like a Doctor Strange track. It's like his end credits that I was like, this is kind of like the vibe. It's gonna be kind of like a weird movie, and just one thing about Izzy though, like it was amazing how quickly he would turn around all the suggestions that I would have, the changes. Like literally like within 20-30 minutes, he would have a whole new track ready for me. So I don't know how you do it, Izzy, but you're a genius, man, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Totally agree. But that's why doing these film challenge films too kind of put you in this pressure cooker situation where you just kind of have to do it, right? I mean, it's like you either do it, or if you don't do it, you figure out something else, right? It's sort of always being ready to pivot in whatever way that is. Like, we were ready to do that musical even up until I think Wednesday. And then it was like, I remember saying, I'm like, I think there may be a version of this without dialogue. But I mean, I have to say, I think it's a pretty powerful film. That's the thing. Even if it's not something you would have ever made intentionally, Danny, if you had had your druthers about it, it's still a very powerful film, and it affects people. I think a lot of people are really affected by the film, and I've seen comments, and Melanie Waldman, I know you were watching, and thank you for joining, but reviewing the film and talking about what that meant for you.
Sorry, Carl, I just want to say, can we have people mute if they're not talking? Because there's several different background noises coming through that a little distracting. So Richard and yeah, thank you. And Richard. Okay, go ahead, Carl.
So I think it just what was I just talking about? I was talking
That
about
the film impacts people.
Film impacts people. Yeah, that's a very important thing.
Yeah.
Right, but sort of like in what it means to people. And I kind of like to talk about the disability representation piece of this too, right? It's sort of like, this is the Disability Film Challenge. And Danny, it was very important for you from the very beginning to really highlight people's disabilities. Talk a little bit about that and your desire to do that.
Well, I think it came down to when we were on set. The people that we asked to be there just mostly happen to have disabilities, and we didn't really write. We knew what certain actors that we may have had on set, but we kind of wrote like a broad. It could have been anyone in any of those roles, but when we locked down all the actors, each person had a specific disability. So I did want to highlight. Not why they're disabled or why they're there, but show off first for like images, like show off their cool prosthetics or the wheelchair or whatever else we had. Shannon being a super cool, like powerful person, when something about disability is that people look down. They think that they look down on us as a community. They think we're weak as a community, and I think the overall message of this story is that people with disabilities are powerful, and we can do more than the world can see us doing. You know what I mean? It's the film is super allegorical, and you could take so many messages from it. I think that's why I like it, and that's why I like that it is silent and it just has the music. I think it was a great first piece for me to do because it makes you think, and I like those movies at the end where you have to kind of like rewatch it and see what you may have missed or what other messages you can get out of it.
Yeah, viewer interpretation, right? I mean, it's sort of. I'm curious to hear. Obviously, people's impressions of the script were it didn't make a whole lot of sense, or is this going to make sense? What the reaction is now, right? Sort of like, do you see it as those were the bones to this piece, or that it changed? I don't know, Michael. You're below me. I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on it.
Say the question again. What was?
So I guess how the film turned out versus your initial reaction to the script.
Oh yeah, initially when I read the script, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I really hope this works. I was concerned. I actually was genuinely concerned whether it would work or not. And then as we started filming throughout the day, I was like, okay, we're getting some good stuff here. We're getting some good scenes shot in. I think this will be okay. I think we're safe, right? And then I was like, but is it going to be good, right? We're safe, but is it going to be good? And then when I saw the final product, I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. But you know what?
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is I'm that way with everything that I do. Anything that I'm in, I critically judge everything I'm in from the start, and I hate it all until I see it done, and then I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I like everybody else, but I hate myself. So it was nice to see it all come together. I think it has a great message. Like Danny said, I think you can interpret it various ways. And I think the message is an important one to get across for people to hear. And so I'm proud to be part of it.
Well, and I just feel good after watching it. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, even if you don't 100% get exactly what's going on with DJ time and spinning the records and how we spend our time, I mean, we talked a lot about that in the writer's room. But even if you don't 100% get that, by the end, you still kind of feel good about it. You know, you've watched something that people have gone through a change.
Yeah.
Right. So I just feel good up until obviously the scene where, you know, the end credit scene where you get the record and laugh, your Vincent Price maniacal laugh, which is great.
You know what's funny is you never leave a set without leaving a little blood behind. I don't know if that's your rule, but that's kind of my rule. And I definitely left with an injury.
No, Michael, no blood.
After that scene, I definitely hurt my elbow and my wrist, and it's still hurting to this day.
Oh no!
Wait, really?
In the hallway when you were flailing in the hallway?
You went all out, Michael. You really committed yourself to that moment. And I remember you did it once so big, and it was amazing, but we needed it again and maybe again. And you were like, okay. You had this like look on your face like, I can't believe I have to do that again.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to file a workers' comp claim, Carl.
That's it. Let's put it in.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And that'll wrap up tonight's show. Great to see everybody. Gotta go. Moving out tomorrow.
And possibly Teresa with her having to get up from the floor a number of times.
Teresa was a trooper.
Such a trooper.
After getting barreled over by me. Yeah.
That was Shannon got, yes. We had a number.
That was Teresa, but
all
Shannon,
the very close calls. I'm sorry, I don't want anyone injured. I'm sorry if you guys are hurting in any way.
They're just doing their own stunts, Carl. Okay, they're just
exactly.
So
that's the
powerful.
cultural detritus way, apparently.
Yeah.
Since that's not true, because Michael had a stunt double in Hard Sell when he didn't ride the motorcycle on the freeway that we had in our very first 48-hour film. I don't recommend doing that again.
What gets me is I had to go on the floor so many times and they never showed me going on the floor. But those editing things were really great editing.
Bring that up with Carl. Yeah, that's
Thank you. Well, and I do want to talk a little bit about the editing process too, because it was the first time I edited one, a Disability Film Challenge film, and that was due to, unfortunately Matthew getting called into work and not being able to finish during our real crunch time. But then Danny, you were in the room with me for a majority of that day, really improving it over Zoom. Yeah, we did did it over Zoom, and I shared my screen, and I put a shot down, and you would have a very immediate reaction, like, oh, there's another shot, or for sure we shot this other thing, which I didn't know, right? That's always kind of the lot of the editor.
And that was I remember I mentioned something because I knew there was a shot that we had and that we shot towards the end with Amika and Richard and I in the hallway, but I guess it didn't upload. And I was like, I know we have that. I know unless something went wrong with the camera, and sure enough, Carl found it. And then I started thinking, like, I know some, in some films, the picture is shot and it's sent to the editor, and then the editor does his own thing. And I was like, how do directors not want to be in the room? Like I love the editing process, and I was like, I need to be in there to, like, how do certain directors just like pass it off? And like, I mean, I understand that like the editor has their job and they know they have their vision, but also the director. So I didn't want to micromanage everything, but visually there was things that I wanted in there. So I was happy to be in that room, and thank you, Carl, for letting me throw in my 2 cents.
And I just want to mention too, and the reason I even actually say it was over Zoom is because we use the term in the room, and obviously since COVID, we've done a lot of things virtually, but also in terms of accessibility, Carl, where you were editing, it might have been challenging for Danny to be in the room potentially.
Flight of stairs, right?
Literally,
so
yeah.
And
I mean,
this place is a bit of a disaster area. It needs to have a nice clean, and I'm like, it's not in any shape to have a guest right now.
Right, or maybe there's not room for even his wheelchair next to the next to the computer. So
I would have crawled in there and sat on Carl's lap.
Right.
we've done crazier. Well, maybe we haven't done it, but,
Yeah.
but for real, that it's a real thing. I think through COVID, having Zoom opportunities really be more the norm now than the rarity.
Sharing the screen, sharing our screen too. Specifically, even in the post world, it's become super common now for editors to share their screens with clients and directors all over the world to watch in on the edit and give live feedback.
I think post-production as a whole has changed inherently through the pandemic, where post-production teams aren't physically together anymore. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to physically be there. They know the remote editing systems work. They don't have to pay the overhead of a post-production space, right? So I don't know. I mean, I definitely think the world has changed in that regard.
And made it better for folks with disabilities in some cases, right? In some ways that may not have been anticipated, but they had, right? But it's making it more accessible for lots of people.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. We only have a few minutes left here. I really appreciate everybody getting together and spending this time, talking about this. Because the other thing too is we're in the awareness campaign for the Disability Film Challenge. And by the way, for you guys at home and watching this, go watch some of these other Disability Film Challenge films. They're excellent. Like, you're going to see something you have never seen before. And it's really amazing undiscovered talent in these films. So definitely go and watch them. I kind of want to do more of these talkbacks and kind of hear from other filmmakers as well, what their process is like. But I kind of want to just wrap up here and maybe get some last words from you guys. Maybe hear what else you're working on currently, if there's anything that you feel like you want to promote. Any other final thoughts? Danny, why don't we start with you?
I just want to speak from the heart and say thank you to everyone here and all the actors who aren't here that came together and believed in what we were doing. And I was nervous about putting this out because I didn't think people were going to understand it, and I was kind of self-conscious about it. And just seeing like some of the responses that I've gotten and some of the love that I've gotten, that people got it. Like, you as an artist, not everybody's going to like your stuff. You know what I mean? Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. You just got to take it as it comes. But the people who do love it and you do get a chance to touch them, that's what's important. And just to the cast and crew, I couldn't have done it without you, honestly. And I'm just so happy that we were able to finish and you helped me bring this picture to life. And you brought a dream, of directing to my life, which is, I can't thank you enough for that. So.
Yay, I can't wait to see you do so much more.
You get touched every time we talk about it.
Yeah.
So, and you did an amazing job, truly. I think I even told you this, I would not have known it was your first time had you not said it was your first time. Right.
Oh, I have to tell real quick. There was one point where Carl, when you're trying to teach a kid to ride a bike and you have training wheels. So Carl was my training wheel throughout the whole shot, the whole shoot, most of the shoot, like the first half of the day. And there was a point where, I was asking him questions, and then there was a point where I looked around and I didn't see him. And I was like, oh my God, Daddy just left and took off the training wheels. So I was literally, it was just me and Ambika and Richard, and we were figuring it out. And
as I say, you still had mommy here, okay?
Yeah, mommy never leaves.
I never left your side. And I just want to quickly say that, so this is my second time working with any folks with disabilities making a film in production, whether they're on camera and in this case behind the camera too. And like Michael said before, there really is no difference. I mean, I did have to sort of be Danny's legs. I was running around quite a bit that day if he needed me to go do something fast. So I was exhausted at the end of the day. But I just keep thinking these words, fearless and funny. And everybody that we worked with that came in and lives with a disability, I felt like such a fearlessness, but also such a fun and funny, so many jokes were cracked that might have even seemed inappropriate. I mean, jokes about their own disabilities or other people's disabilities, but there was just an openness. And actually I felt like they made me feel comfortable. Like I didn't have to necessarily make them feel comfortable with who they were, but they made me feel comfortable just by their like natural openness about, you know, whether they had no arm or no leg or were in a wheelchair, like whatever they were, you know, faced with it. I felt at ease. And so it was just a really cool experience.
But a really open set. I mean, it was fun. It was a
and
fun day.
Like Annika
Fun
was one
day.
of the funniest people. I don't know if you guys caught all her one-liners, but she should be on stage somewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Speaking of stage, super quick, Danny, do you want to? I don't know if you want to promote that play that you're in.
I'll be on stage, an actual theater run in September September 22nd in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
What?
Yeah, an actual
Cool.
theater run, my first one on stage, 500-seat theater.
Wow.
So I'll be posting about that soon. So yeah, hopefully people can make it out.
I know
Awesome.
Pittsfield. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Ambika, any other final words, or were those your final words? And
Those are, I mean, I could talk all night, but who wants to hear that? So anyway, thank you. Oh, wait, except wait, Carl, truly, you inspire me so much with how much work you do to just bring people into the folds, whether it's their first time directing or first time on camera, whether they have a disability or not. So thank you to the moon for all the work that you do, selfless work that you do.
Big Papa Carl.
Papa Carl, Papa
Yeah.
Well, listen, it goes back to people giving me an opportunity when I was really young. And truly, it's you pay it forward. The only thing I ask of people, you know, when you get an opportunity is to remember other people need an opportunity too, right? So you lead the way.
And lifetime commitment, loyalty, and newborns and all that. You require all of those things too, Carl. Come on.
I don't need a lot of newborns. When I had my newborn, diaper changing stuff. I mean, you know.
Okay,
maybe. But I can do it. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. All right, Michael.
Just along those lines, yeah, Carl, you were super inspiring to me all the time, right from the beginning. Your drive and your passion and your likability. And the way you include everybody and your openness just really, I've always felt a special connection to you because of that. And then Danny, since working with you, like you just have such heart in what you do, and it touches me. I'm feeling it now. I'm getting worked up right now. I'm just feeling it. So I love working with you guys. And Ambika, you've been great the past 2 times I've worked with you now too. So yeah. And as far as what to promote, let's see. I had an audition yesterday to play Alice and Janney's husband, so wish me luck on that one. I have an audition tomorrow for a Seth Rogen film, so wish me luck on that. And then I start filming Monday for The Consultant for episode 2, which is a new show coming out with Christoph Waltz as the star.
Awesome.
And that's an Amazon show that I know you all know I talked about incessantly.
As you should.
So I'm a recurring role on that. We're filming 8 episodes the first season. We're shooting through mid-June and excited to start Monday. So that's amazing. What's up with me.
That's
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Teresa and Shannon.
Well, I'm just happy you found us, Carl.
Yeah.
And Danny.
Yep.
And Michael.
Yep.
And Amika. And Richard.
Yep.
We had a great time. And I would do it over again.
Me too.
You'd get on the floor again?
Yeah. 17 times.
I was sore after that. It only
Teresa and Shannon,
lasted
y'all, thank you so much. You both were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you were the heart of the film.
MVPs.
Really
Yeah,
dope.
MVPs for sure.
Yeah.
But it was a fun shoot, and I was amazed at how it came out. And I keep watching it, but sometimes I turn the music down.
Is you missed the beginning where everyone was saying like the music was going to drive them crazy with the earworm loop.
Which means you did your job right, Izzy. You did your job right.
Yeah, that song was in my head for days.
It's still going through my head right now. 'Cause I'll come across it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Teresa and Shannon, thank you guys so much. I mean, really, from the first Disability Film Challenge film, when you submitted on that Friday night, that was a story. Was you submitted on Friday night, and we were writing. Andrew Horn and I were writing the film, and I'm like, you have to watch this tape. We have to figure out a role to give to this young woman, and that was the first time. Sorry, my chair. I suddenly shrank. I don't know what happened to my seat there. But it's been a joy and pleasure, and I loved seeing you in the lead role, Shannon. I think you really did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really great job. Richard, I do want to just quickly preface this by saying I remember getting excited about this film when I saw the first images that had come out of the camera, and I was ingesting them into the computer, and I was like, oh, this looks really good. Like I knew at that point that we were going to be fine with all the uncertainty that goes into these projects. So, but anyway, do you have any final words or anything to add?
I have to agree with Michael. Danny sent me the 2-page script. I read it, and we spent 3 or 4 hours on the shot list. I said, okay. It was a technical aspect for me, but then we get on site and said, what is this all about, and how's this coming together? But like everything else, when filmmaking, as you're going along, you're putting the scenes together, the setups and so forth, the story starts to click. So by the end of the day, okay, I understand the story. So, but with Carl Films, it is just, it's just a madhouse, but it comes together. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun madhouse. Let's say that.
Fun madhouse.
Yeah, but I've been with Carl for 3 or 4 films, but on the sideline technically. So it's my first time into the mix of things, and it was I learned a lot of fun.
Though you did take the stills for Connections, in addition to everything else you did on that shoot. You did the hair model of Tamara. Mm-hmm. You did the poster shot, right? And
That's correct.
I've seen the stuff you've shot before. I've seen, the photos that you've shown me over the years. And I know you have a really great eye. So that was why I felt comfortable asking you when the other DP fell out to do this. Because again, it's an opportunity like, hey, you can kind of show what you've been learning. Because also I want to point out, like when you were talking about going to school and learning this, you're talking about going right now at your age and learning film. Like you just decided late.
I did, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And
right on.
I did the Crystal's Ball. You needed those family photographs. So we set up a quick studio and shot that, and you ran out, got them printed and put in the frame.
Same day. Yeah.
The same day, yes.
Yeah. So, I remember on Connections, we had to do that. Yeah. The whole shoot with Tamara.
Yeah, the Connections. We had so many poses with, I forgot her name, with her hair dryer. Tamara, yes. Run out, get it printed out, poster size for the prop, which was
on the subway, right?
Yes, it was an integral part.
It was like an ad.
Film.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and then, with Saddleback, I just wanted to be a cinematographer, and so I went through did all my school or training and so forth. And then I felt like I had to go to graduate school, so I was interviewing. I think it was Cal State Los Angeles, and the counselor looked at me. He was going through my resume and everything. He says, "You know what? You don't need to go to school. You just need to get to work." So, which was a good kick in the butt for me. You just need to get to work. You don't need schooling. You got plenty of that. So, currently my career path is script supervisor. I got hooked up with American Film Institute. I've done 2 films with them already. So, and that is very professional. They're $200,000 productions, 4 days of shooting, 12-hour days. So I think their film fest is in September or something like that. So I'll send out some notices. 2 films one was Daddy, and the other one was I Thought the Earth Would Remember Me. So if you see those, and Daddy we filmed out in the desert. Remember I was telling you about that out the Club Ed?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So very cold, but for people in the film industry, they thrive on that. The conditions, the cold, the hot. For some reason, everybody works together. There's no complaining, no crying. They work, they get it done. And
it sounds like a magical set you were on, because that sounds different than other ones I've experienced in those conditions. That sounds like everyone's excited to be there versus forced to do labor in those conditions.
Well, there was probably some crying because it was so cold. It was cold and windy and dusty out there, but that was that counselor says, you know what, you just need to get to work. So that's what I'm doing. Just get to work. Yeah, the education is finished with. I mean, well, you're always continually being taught and educated, but as far as the actual schooling is more not over with, but you just need to get to work. So, but that was a lot of fun. I have to agree with Michael. I said, "What is this?" But
I think we're all feeling that the whole shoot.
Yeah.
Just from the top down.
Yeah. And then we did the last scene first. We did the last scene first. I said, "Okay," so which kind of helped, I guess.
Well, and we haven't talked about the mysterious headphones that appear and are there sometimes. And
oh my god!
Yeah, we needed a script supervisor, Richard, to help us with
continuity. He was like, "Oh, were the headphones on? We don't remember if the headphones."
We're like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't. None of this makes sense anyway. We don't know."
No one's paying attention to like people are paying attention to the headphones. It's a problem.
Carl, I definitely it didn't jump out to me in the edit though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was one of those, like, no one's going to know. I think even on the day when you guys were saying, like, the headphones, I'm like...
I was like, doesn't matter.
I won't mention how many turntables we went through.
That actually was probably one of the biggest technical challenges, to be honest. Was like our main prop didn't work. You got like a bunk one from Target.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Broken.
Didn't have the power cable.
And the name is turntable. Right.
Well, but it wasn't at that point. It was still unsung. We were still calling it unsung.
That's true.
And then it was in the edit where I was just saying, I even like floated to Matthew that morning. I'm like, what do you think of like the title turntable? Because I feel like that's it
was a good better.
It also
I hope you got that stuff all returned.
Yeah, did you get your money back?
Did you get your money back on that thing? All right, good.
They're like, what was wrong with this? I'm like, there's no power cable. Somebody else had already returned it apparently.
Right, with no power. And so we're like trying all these different power cables, and thank God for that studio. That guy was amazing.
Oh, luckily he had that record player. I mean, he just had that like in his attic of the studio.
And the shots worked.
The studio where we shot, 3-Line Studio, really great place that I highly recommend shooting with those guys again. And also one other quick thing is like finding the record player there that didn't match the one that we had shot all day with. Right, and I'm like, if you shoot it tight enough, it's gonna be fine. And you did it
with your iPhone. That's what you used.
With my, I think it was Michael's iPhone.
My iPhone,
okay. And that's what you used in the edit, right?
Yeah.
Not what was shot with the big camera.
Because we didn't have a macro lens, right? It was sort of like we didn't have a macro lens, and it's like to just get like a super tight something. The iPhone 12.
I'm glad you guys shot that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we continued shooting the rest of the movie. You guys were over there like trying to get your cool insert shots.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, Carl, can you put up a link to the films for people to see?
To all the films?
So I can
go in
put
and
up
see our stuff.
I will. Here's the if you want to make one, the Disability Film Challenge website, if you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com, our film is called Turntable. We're one of 95 other entries in the challenge. So you can go here. They'll point you to the YouTube channel. You can go to the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge YouTube channel and see the films on there as well. And yeah, if you want to make one, I highly encourage other filmmakers to do that as well. So anyway, I do also I want to hear, Izzy, from you if you have any last comments
Hey,
or questions.
Carl,
yeah, Richard.
Carl, I gotta leave.
Okay.
But
Great to
believe
see
it
you,
or not,
Richard.
we got a film shoot tonight.
Hey, awesome! Totally get it. Thank you so much.
Okay, see you guys later.
Bye.
All right, great to see you.
Yeah.
See you later. All right, sorry, Izzy. Sorry about that.
All good. Well, I mean, it's just kind of in the same vein as everyone else. It was really great to work with everyone, more hands-on, this year, and the crew, the cast and crew has really done an amazing job to put this story together. I think at one point, Carl, I know we were talking about putting some audio description, so making that accessible for people that can't see the screen too well to enjoy the film as well, because otherwise it's just music and sound effects. So
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's but it was really great working with you guys, and I really thank you guys for the opportunity. And if there's any aspiring composers or not even just composers, just anybody trying to get in on the filmmaking process, whether it's writing or directing, to just sometimes you gotta just step out of your shell and just leap into it. I kind of did that with Carl last year with Archaic. We met on Clubhouse, and then we talked on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to compose for a film?" I was like, "Oh man, it's if you would have told me that I would have been doing this 2 years ago, I would have been like, no, I don't think so. Nobody wants to work with me." So, but it's about people taking chances on each other and giving each other opportunities. You never know, you might find something that you like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Izzy.
I'm so grateful that I met you on Clubhouse. I'm glad you were on Clubhouse and that you shared that song, right? It's sort of like everything kind of happens for a reason, I think. And, I tell aspiring filmmakers and creators, like, these challenges, these competitions, they get you kind of out of your comfort zone. They force you to do something. And at the end of the weekend, you have a finished film that then you can take and show it at other festivals. Second Act Danny J. Gomez was a documentary we made through COVID as our Easterseals Disability Film Challenge film from 2020. It's screening at the TCL Chinese Multiplex at Hollywood and Highland on Wednesday as part of the Holly Shorts annual April monthly screening that they have going on. So
I forgot to email you back about that. Sorry, but yeah.
Well, so it's just and by the way, anybody in Los Angeles, and actually it will be online as well through their BitPix website or streaming service. So you'll have an opportunity to see it if you want to or haven't yet. But it will be playing on the big screen, which I have to say it looks awesome up on the big screen. And again, that was one we did fully remotely too. But thank you guys. No, thank you so much, Amika. But all of you guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight and talking about this. I love hanging out with you. I love working with you. I love talking to you about the work that we've made. And, I look forward to being able to do something again with you guys in the very near future. And just seeing you, as friends outside of the work.
Yay.
Love it.
Thanks for doing this, Carl. Have fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And thanks for being a part of the first episode of Behind the Lens, which is what I've branded this.
You're just starting. This is your new thing. What
Again,
is because you need more things to do.
I'm not on Clubhouse anymore. So
Right.
Carl, speaking of lenses, and when Amika was telling Richard what lenses to use, I was like, I need to know about these things. So when I the next day after we finished shooting, I went on a YouTube hole of the technical side of
Oh,
lenses,
good.
and depth of field, and all kind of stuff. So I'm taking myself to school on things that I actually like. You know, the YouTube school, the YouTube
Well, and
University.
there's plenty out there to do that, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need to spend a ton of money to go to film school.
Yeah.
By the way,
And it'll help your dialogue, your language. You know, when you're
Right,
when you're
right.
Yeah,
picking.
yeah.
USC, 80 grand a year.
by the way, Shannon loved that she didn't have to memorize lines.
Right? That's great. That's so great.
Well, and one benefit I will say, and I don't know, Danny, if you felt this was a benefit, but because it was a silent film and there was no sound we had to worry about, not only did it make the day kind of go faster where you didn't have to take takes because, you know, the sound got messed up, but you could direct people through the actual filming. The camera's
Right.
rolling. You could actually
talk to
direct
them.
people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think that was a big help, especially
helped.
for this. It worked for this piece definitely, and I know the stress of my first challenge with Carl. I didn't get the script till the morning of, and I was on every page and like pages of dialogue, and I hadn't acted in years. I've told the story, but I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to learn this? And then our other actress, well, I forget her, Julia, yeah, she read it one time, put it down, and she's like, I'm ready. I'm like, what? Yeah. And then there's Michael and I. Remember the last scene on the porch where we had the script at our feet because we didn't know.
Yeah, I remember.
That was a great film too. I remember that one.
We'll just
That
cut
was a fun
around
one.
and just say the line. Like, just make sure you look at each other when you say the line, and we'll cut around all the rest of the stuff.
Right.
Meanwhile, the owner of the house is breathing down my neck, going like, "You have to get out of here." I'm like, "Oh, we're packing up. Keep rolling."
That's the reason we shot that on the porch. I think we weren't originally going to shoot that on the porch because we were trying to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Oh, we shot it on the porch because we also we were getting kicked out and we ran out of daylight. And that scene was supposed to be shot during the day. That's an indication, by the way. And we'll wrap up here in a second. But that was a real, nobody outside of these challenges, and when you're making these films, knows what's outside the frame. All they see is what at the end of the day you show them, right? So whatever our intent was going in, the fact that scene in Checkmate was shot in darkness and it wasn't intended that way, I had no idea how to connect that to the rest of the film until I was driving home that night. And I'm like, what if we like dip to black and just say 3 hours later? It kind of fits with their thing, but that comes out of necessity when you're in that kind of a crazy scenario.
Necessity breeds invention, yeah.
You know, so that's what I love about these challenges too. It's just you pivot and you create something and it creates magical art, which I love doing with all of you amazing people. So on that note, I want to say thank you guys. I hope you have a really good night. I'm gonna put myself singular on here. Awesome to see everybody. I hope everybody watches all the Disability Film Challenge films. And my name's Carl Hansen, and this has been Behind the Lens. Thank you all for joining, and have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Wait, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you. I love you so much, Ambika. You're the best.
I love you, Danny. Oh, there you are. You're the best. Carl, are you still there, or did you leave us? Let's just hang out.